Here's the big challenge of life. You can have more than you got because you can become more than you are. But that's the challenge, because the other side of the coin reads, unless you change who you are, you'll always get what you got. Jim Rohn, often coined as one of the greatest life coaches of our time, Jim revolutionized stages and, more importantly, the people that he transformed across his entire life. Whether it was Tony Robbins or the millions of people who sat in those seats and listened to the incredible wisdom that Jim has, which is exactly why in this week's episode of Master Talk, we're breaking down one of the legends himself, Jim Rohn. So let's get into it. Number one, figure out the easiest version of your ideas to scale them faster. Jim Rohn is one of the brightest minds in life coaching. Yet, despite all of the amazing people he's coached in his life, his ideas are fairly simple, especially when he gives seminars to the general public. In his keynotes, he shares that there's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon that he recommends to everybody who attends his seminar. But then he talks about the 10% rule. And we're all going, what's the 10% rule? And Jim goes on to explain that despite the fact that he mentions his book every single time he gives a seminar, only 10% of people actually buy the book and read it. And he doesn't know why it's 10%. He doesn't spend time explaining it. He just says, move away from the 90%. 90% of you won't buy the book. So I encourage you to be in the 10% that does. Move away from the 90%. Even if I know that most of you still won't buy it despite me begging you to, I encourage you to do it anyways. So notice how he spends a good 10-15 minutes just re-emphasizing and repeating that singular idea. And that's how he gets people to move into action. And the reason he does this is actually really smart, because Jim understands that simplicity is what scales, not complexity. If you have a really complex idea, it won't resonate with most people. That's why whenever I make a YouTube video, I don't focus on the 27 aspects of how Jim communicates. I focus on 3 main points, and that's it. I keep it simple. In the same way for you, make a list of all of your ideas, everything you're really passionate about, and rank those ideas by simplicity. What's really hard to master? So when I'm coaching a private client, I'm going to go through the more complex ideas like communication, goal setting, public speaking identity, topics that I don't really cover that often on my YouTube channel. But your easiest ideas, those are the ones that you share en masse with the world. Insights like, how would your life change if you're an exceptional communicator? The random word exercise, the question drill, send one video message every day. What are those ideas for you, for your thought leadership, for what you want to share to other people? And if you figure that out, repeat them over and over again until your life is up. Number 2, make a list of every mistake you made in your life and leverage some of them to make your presentation better. What Jim does uniquely is he doesn't just share the insight. He shares the story and how he made a mistake with that insight. One of those stories is with his mentor. His mentor asked him when he was younger, Jim, do you have your goals written somewhere? And Jim goes, no, sir, I don't have my goals written somewhere. He goes, well, are they in your car? Are they in your house? Maybe you have a notebook at home? And he goes, no, sir, I've never written my goals down in my life. And the reason he tells this story is to empathize with the group. Because some people might be watching that seminar and thinking, I feel really bad being here because I never wrote my goals either. I don't think I belong in this room. But when Jim Rohn goes, yeah, I never had my goals written either, it makes the audience comfortable. They go, well, if Jim didn't do it, I can definitely write my goals right now and make a change right now. Because if Jim wasn't perfect, I don't have to be perfect either. And I use this strategy all the time, leveraging your mistakes to empower other people to make better decisions. Whenever you discuss with your audience and have long dinner conversations, their challenges, their concerns get brought up. So what you want to do is say, what are some of those challenges that I had in my life that I could bring up? For example, I had a lot of anxiety in speaking. I have a crooked left arm. That's one. I studied my whole life in accounting, which has nothing to do with my subject matter expertise. And I studied my whole life in a language I didn't even know. So I had to present in a language I didn't know. But notice what I'm doing here, exactly like Jim Rohn did with his mentor, is, hey, I'm telling you I suck at speaking, which is a true story. But what's happening is you as the audience is thinking, Brendan made all of these mistakes and he still became a YouTuber and a speaker and a thought leader and he coaches other people on how to speak. Boy, if he could do it, I definitely can. I should start practicing today. And that's the magic of learning to laugh at your mistakes and using them as a tool, as a weapon to get your audience to take action. So I encourage you to make a list of all of your mistakes and circle the ones that you feel are useful for the ideas that you want to share. And finally, number 3, always think of yourself as the member of the team rather than the leader of the pack. This is what I love the most about Jim Rohn, is whenever he communicates and shares an idea, it doesn't feel like he's above everybody else. And that's what I hate about a lot of speakers in the circuit right now, really in any generation, is when they make it is when things get problematic. They stop talking to their audiences. They put themselves up on a pedestal. And what this does is it deteriorates their communication skills over time because they're not adapting to the new needs and wants of their audiences and their content isn't fresh anymore. That's why Tony Robbins, even if 15,000 people might be in a stadium listening to him, he never forgot about the one person who's sitting in front of him. He never forgot about those small pockets of people that he's engaging with. And that's how he got to the next level. That's how he kept growing in his communication skill and why he's able to create a message that is empathetic to the people around him. And Jim Rohn is a fantastic example of this too, where whenever he shares an insight, he almost sounds dumb, which is very counterintuitive because you would think Jim Rohn is one of the greatest of all time, which he is. But the way that he conveys a message almost convinces you like he's your neighbor on the same street as you. And that really inspires you to actually take action on the ideas and to see results quickly. So I encourage you to develop that same mindset. It doesn't matter how successful you become in your career, always see yourself as a member of the team, not just the leader of the pack. Unless you change how you are, you'll always get what you got. And the reason I love this quote by Jim Rohn is because it rings true, not just in life, but in communication. What standard of excellence are you bringing into sharing your ideas with the world? There's so many times where I would deliver a speech, a keynote, a video on YouTube that a lot of people would message me saying, wow, Brendan, this was so good. But I'm sitting there thinking, this is not my best work. I could probably do better. Why did I say that word? Why did I do this? And I'm always criticizing myself, not in a negative way, but to serve the higher mission, the higher purpose of my life, which is to scale my ideas to the absolute maximum. And that's a mindset, not a tactic, not a trick, not a tip, but a journey that we learn to take on together. So I encourage you to do it for a lifetime, exactly as Jim Rohn did in the incredible life that he's led. As always, if you enjoyed this week's episode of MasterTalk, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well to see more videos like this. And I hope you can join me at one of my free communication trainings that I do over Zoom. The link is in the description below, and I would love to see you there. And of course, if you know one person who is a fan of Jim Rohn's incredible work, be sure to send them this video so that they'll be one step closer to living their life's potential. Thanks so much.